how to be a multi-passionate entrepreneur. She's also the author of a #1 New York Times best-selling book, Everything is Figure-Outable. Sounds a very New York thing to say.
It is.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. I've been so looking forward to this.
Now, for context, everybody, Marie and I have bumped into each other a couple of times. The very last time was actually at the airport in Dubai. A lot has changed in the world, but that's when we were you were just chilling, and we came by and just bothered you, talking, and here we are.
I was having snacks. We were all having snacks. I love having snacks.
Are you a snack girl?
I am a snack girl. I look forward. Food is like such a source of pleasure and joy for me. So when there's good snacks, I'm like all thumbs up.
Okay, now the word of warning here. Marie is very direct. She may do a New York thing, I think, and maybe drop a few words here and there. So
only if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm. So if you have young kids around, perhaps just monitor this just as a warning for everyone, okay? Now, we're going to talk about how you can build a business and a life that you love.
Yes.
Which is the mission that you're on with Marie TV, with B School, and everything that you're doing. And I also have to say, props to you. You're an OG YouTuber.
Yes.
If I can say that.
Yes, absolutely.
You've been around for a minute.
A long, 25 years I've been doing this. Not on YouTube because that hasn't been around that long, but I've been doing this kind of work for 25 years and then, hopped on YouTube maybe 2008 or so-ish.
That's impressive.
Like that. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know, what is it that started in your brain? I was like, I'm going to leave this very kind of tried and true path to do something totally wacky.
Okay, so please interrupt me as much as possible and as much as you feel that would be valuable to our in-studio and at-home audience. So essentially, when I graduated from school, I knew that I couldn't sit at a desk because I'm a person who has a lot of energy. And I only had little clues about what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I was that kid at 6 and 7 when, an adult asks you so what do you want to be? And I always had 14 to 17 answers. And I would watch their brains just go offline and, the next year it would change and the next year it would change. So when I graduated from school, I was like, okay, I can't sit behind a desk. And I also knew that I wanted the opportunity to make a lot of money. Not because I like shoes, I really don't care, I'm not that materialistic, but early on in my life, I learned when my parents got divorced that a lack of money could tear everyone apart. And so I made myself a promise at 8 years old. I said, when I grow up somehow, some way, I will figure out a way to earn enough so that the lack of money never takes away love or breaks up a family again. And so many of my friends at school, in grammar school, parents got divorced, the same thing. So I also had this idea that if I could generate enough that I could help other people with it too. So bartending in college, I got my first job on Wall Street on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And I was super pumped about this because at that time, there were literally no seats on the floor. You could not sit. There was a flip down seat that occasionally you could do for 30 seconds, but that was very frowned upon from a social point of view. And I was pumped to have a job. I'm the first in my family to go to college. But I remember showing up on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, still living in Jersey, taking the train in, and I started hearing this little small voice inside that says, Marie, this isn't you. This isn't what you're supposed to be. This isn't what you're supposed to do. And I was like, shh, I'm here on Wall Street. You know what I mean? I'm with traders. This is amazing. So I kept trying to ignore the voice. And as time went on, I started to learn the culture there, which first of all, it was 99.9% men. We're taking this back to 1997, right? So here we go, first warning, it was like a big sausage fest, for those of you who knows what that means, which by the way, I'm Italian, I love sausage, it's great, but it was not a kind of integrated, balanced environment to say the least, if you know what I'm saying. Then, the other part of the culture was at 4 p.m., bell would ring, and it was time to go to strip clubs and do lines of cocaine. Which, no judgment, just wasn't, I was like, this is not my scene. Third thing, no matter how much I tried to be taken seriously, it was just constantly getting hit on. And now I'm Italian, if you can see me, I have a lot of hair, it's very long hair. And to kind of protest, I cut off all my hair and basically had a buzz cut, like a pixie cut, because I thought that would handle that. Didn't.
You Sinead O'Connor did.
I did.
Yeah.
And anywho, that voice kept getting louder until one day when I was on the floor, I started having what I now know is a mini panic attack, but I didn't have the words for that then. I just couldn't breathe. I felt pretty dizzy, and I went to my boss at the time. I was like, hey, can I just run out and get a coffee? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I ran out and I didn't go get caffeine. I actually made a beeline to the nearest church, which was Trinity Church, downtown Manhattan, and I sat on the steps and I just bawled my eyes out because I felt like broken. I felt like such a loser. My parents had busted their buns to put me through college. I was a really hard worker, but I felt like this job was making me die a slow death, and then there was this voice inside that kept saying, this isn't what you're supposed to do, but I'm like, well, what else? And so I got a little message that says, call your dad. So I whipped out my flip phone because it was 1997. And I'm doing the ugly cry to my dad. And when I stopped and took a breath, he's like, Ree, hold on. He's like, you've been working since you were 9 years old. I'm not worried about you keeping a roof over your head. But if this job is making you this sick, you got to leave. Let me tell you the secret to life. You're going to be working for the next 40, 50 years plus. You have to find something you love. And if this isn't it, then you got to quit and go figure it out. And that, while he didn't tell me how to go figure out something I love, it was the permission slip that I needed to not bring shame upon my family for just walking away from healthcare and a steady paycheck when we do not have a plan B. So I went and just looked inside. I was like, okay, well, what are my clues to who am I? Like, what the hell am I supposed to do in this world? And I knew I loved small business. My dad was a small business owner, but I also knew I was really creative. I wanted to be an animator or a fashion designer or a fine artist. So I was like, had two different parts of me. I was like, okay, how do I meld these parts? And the thing that came into my mind was, oh, magazines, the world of publishing. There's the commerce side to publishing, but then there's the creative side to publishing. And I went and found a headhunting kind of place, temp agency, and I said, I'll take anything in any publishing company. They got me a job as an ad assistant at Gourmet Magazine, which was part of Condé Nast. Okay, so first of all, I'm winning because my desk was right near the test kitchen. We talked about this. I love snacks, right? So every time they're like testing new recipes, I would get snacks. This time my boss was a woman. The publisher of the magazine was a woman. It was a much more integrated environment. I'm like, this is it. This is amazing. And I'm going along and I'm going along. And then all of a sudden, that little voice comes up again. Hey, Marie, this isn't who you are. This isn't what you're supposed to do. This isn't who you're meant to be. And I'm like, whoa. This feels awful because I'm a high achiever and I hold myself to very high standards. And I just kept feeling like inside I'm dying this slow death, even though I was so grateful to have a job and to have a paycheck. Does that make sense? So I took a step back after that voice kept getting louder and louder. And I said, okay, let me analyze this a little bit more. Wall Street, all numbers, all dudes. Ad side of magazines, all numbers again, quotas, quotas, quotas. I was like, it's probably my creativity is being stifled. That's it. I need to be more creative. Well, let me go to the editorial side of a magazine. So I went to HR. I said, I'll take a pay cut. I don't care, lateral move, whatever. Any editorial position, I'll take it. Of course, one came up at a magazine called Mademoiselle, fashion magazine. And I'm like, all right, this is gonna be it. I'm going to fashion shows, I'm working with designers, come on, this is amazing, it's glamorous, ba 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 ba. And for the first few weeks, it was awesome. I was super, super pumped, the novelty was there, I was excited. And then the friggin' voice came back again. Marie, this isn't who you are, this isn't what you're supposed to do, this is what you're meant. At this point, I was feeling like I was broken. I was like, do I have some kind of brain deficiency? Like, I'm such a hard worker and I want to make my way in the world, but I keep wanting to quit every job I have. All my friends are getting married, having kids, getting promotions, and like starting quote unquote real life after college. And here I am piling up debt, feeling like a loser, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Cut to. One day I'm on the internet, probably when I shouldn't have been, and I stumbled upon a new profession at the time. This is 1999, y'all, called coaching. Specifically, life coaching. Now, I read this article all about this new burgeoning profession and how it was about partnering with people and all this stuff. And by the way, I didn't tell you guys this, but I started off as a psych major in college before I switched to business. So I've always had this passion around human development. The moment I realized this whole new article and I'm reading this, it was simultaneously, it was like the clouds parted and little cherubs appeared above my desk and it was like, ah, Marie, this is what you're supposed to be. And then my Jersey girl, mean girl voice in my head said, are you freaking kidding me? This is the stupidest, cheesiest idea ever. You're 23 years old. Who the hell's gonna hire a 23-year-old life coach? You haven't even lived life yet. You're in debt, you keep failing at every job. This is just one more stupid idea that you're going to fail at. So I had those two things happening at once. I made a decision to sign up for a 3-year coach training program that was all done online. This is all teleconference, again, because we're in 1999. And then I did my Mademoiselle job during the day. And fast forward about 6 months, I get a call from the HR department, and they had a promotion for me, and they wanted me to go to Vogue, top fashion magazine in the world. More money, more prestige, more everything. A job that I could feel proud of going back to my friends. And I remember thinking about taking it, and I was like, okay, I've got my coaching studies over here that I was really loving, and then this Vogue opportunity. And I was like, this is my fork in the road. Do I go to Vogue, or do I start this weird-ass life coaching business that no one has ever heard of? I have no clue how to start a business. I am literally piles and piles of debt, and this sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna do that one. So I said no to the Vogue job. I went back to bartending and waiting tables and doing whatever I needed to do because I lived in New York City, and that's what you do. And I figured out how to start a coaching business during the day, and that was over 25 years ago.
Amazing.
So that's how this whole thing came about.
It sounds like you have the entrepreneur's curse. You're kind of unemployable.
I am.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I'm a really good worker, and I love to work, and I love to do things and create things, and I love to collaborate. But going to the same place every single day and having someone else be in charge of how much I earn, what I can create, where I can go, what I do, I am not built for that at all.
Okay, I'm watching some of your episodes, your Q&A Tuesdays and things like that. I know you like to do checklists. So let's design the checklist live together.
Let's do it.
What are the 4, 5, or 3 biggest things that we need to figure out in order for us to have a business and a life that we love? So I'll let you process that, and maybe you could just tell me, and then I'll write those things down, and then we could organize the conversation around this.
So I think number one of the things that you need to figure out in order to create a business and life you love is to actually figure out what it is that you really, really love to do or explore or learn or be engaged with, be challenged by. You know, I think for me, one of the biggest challenges was all the books that I read early on in my career, like What Color is Your Parachute? I don't know if anyone is old enough to remember that book, and if you're not, be glad, because it wasn't that great. No shade on them, but for me it wasn't a fit. But so many of the success books at that time were about picking one thing, going really deep, waiting your time, and being known for it, which, by the way, is pretty solid advice, but it's not great for people that are built now that I know as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, meaning that there are many, many different things that not only are you great at, but you are passionate about and you have a capability for. So I think figuring out what you love and is really important, and it doesn't have to stay the same throughout your entire life, and it probably won't. I think we humans are built to evolve and to change, and change is the only thing that we can depend on. So being willing to identify what that is at this stage and season of your life and being at peace with it may not be the same forever, I think that's number one. Okay,
Let's unpack that. I hear potentially conflicting things, and I might even agree with you, but let's talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? You say you've got to figure out what it is that you love to do. I believe in an episode you said you got to keep your eye on your why. Did you say that? Something like that?
I'm sure I did say it. And I said it in the context of when you find something that you're super into, you want to build, you want to complete, you want to explore, keep your eye on why it matters so much to you beyond just numbers, metrics, or money. Because any project, whether it's starting an entire business, whether it's launching a new product, whether it's learning a new skill, it's not going to be easy, right? You're going to have so much self-doubt. If you're anything like me, you're going to scrape your knees a gajillion times, like failing, stumbling, making dumb moves, making mistakes, right? Wasting money, making a fool out of yourself. And so in those moments, you may be tempted to give up. But if your why isn't just about your ego or about making money, and it's tied to things that are beyond you or outside of you that you genuinely care about in your soul and in your heart, you are so much more likely to find a way to get up and keep going. Does that make sense? So once you find that thing, keeping an eye on your why, keeping that close to your heart in that context can be really, really beautiful.
Is there a question that you ask people who are struggling to figure this thing out? Because I do agree with this 1000%. What they can do to identify their why. Is there a prompt that you give them?
A why is a little bit different. It can be like, who's going to benefit from you creating, achieving, or bringing this thing into the world? Is it your family? Is it your community? Is it the people that you serve? And so if you can start to articulate who are all the different people who then win as you win, that can get your heart open to the ripples that may come from your creation. And I think tapping into one's imagination and tapping into the fact, and we were talking about this a little bit before the cameras officially started rolling, that I believe, it's my belief, that we are all connected on an energetic level. And so your good, your blessings, your creations, when born from that space of love and a desire to delight, inspire, educate, somehow positively impact other people, like you get juice from it. You get energy from that. It's like we're not, I don't think we're here to be just like an isolated island. And so having those energetic connections to something higher, it really does work. I've seen it in my own life. When I don't, it's like, oof, I can be on the floor.
I heard this at a conference. Blair Enns was sharing a story about how they had asked this question to an audience of 100 entrepreneurs. Like, what is your biggest why? And what is it that motivates you to show up every single day? And he said, without a fault, they practically said the exact same thing. Different words, but they said the exact same thing, which is number one, I want to work on my personal development. Mm-hmm. I want to grow every single day to do things that challenge me. And while doing that, to serve other people, to help them transform.
Yes.
And so you have, that was a different way of saying it, mm-hmm. how you say, by you doing what you do, who will benefit from this? It could be a small thing. It could be a sibling, a parent, or it could be a whole family or a whole community or people that you represent.
Yes.
Right? This is beautiful. Okay, so we got to get right with that. And I find that, especially today, people who are growing up in the age of social media, I think they have their self-worth, their validation tied to how the algorithm treats them. And so they're just asking themselves all the time, what am I going to do to be loved by other people?
Yes.
And that's a pretty hollow pursuit, and they don't realize it, and they're just careening from one wall to the next. Because one day Instagram loves you, the next day you're dog trash.
Yes.
One day YouTube loves you, the next day you're just a nobody. And it can be like that. So I find that when I'm pretty clear about what I want my life to mean and who I'm trying to serve, that is the fuel that keeps me going forever.
Yes. And if I may, to add a slightly different dimension to that, and this is something where I am so friggin' grateful, y'all, that I'm old enough to have existed and to have built something prior to social media, because I have such a clear demarcation point in my own lived experience of what it was like to just create stuff without social. Do you know what I mean? Like without likes, and to just have it be, even though, you know, when I started, the internet was a thing and email was a thing. It's like we didn't have the platforms that we have today. And I will tell you this, that if anyone listening or watching right now is caught in that toxic cycle, one of the best fixes is actually, and this is going to sound real cheesy, so get ready for it, strap yourself in, you have to love yourself.
Oh, so cheesy.
It's terrible.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's
I'm just
effing
kidding.
true. I don't care. Because I've seen it, you know, chasing vanity metrics or finding myself sucked into that world of where I don't feel like my mind or my being is my own, and it's constantly in comparison to or on those roller coasters of this did well and this didn't do well. And I watched how my self-esteem and my self-love just got eroded. And the fix for that is really loving yourself, because if that comes from the inside out, you give so much less weight to those platforms and you give so much more attention to the work itself.
So many questions. I want to pull on that string.
Yeah.
Do you love yourself?
I love myself so much. Not always. I will say it's in the 85 to 90% of the time range, and then the 15 to 10% of the time range when I can be really hard on myself and really torturous of myself and my own worst critic. And the difference in my own experience of life and my ability to be creative and my ability to be in touch with and in connection with others is so unbelievable. Like, I can't believe it's the same person.
Couple quick questions.
Yes.
When did you reach that 85%? What happened? How did you know, and how did you learn to love yourself?
Probably, so part of, and I seem to do this in my life, part of the way I achieve things is through a lot of pain, through doing it the not good way. And when I say not good, it's not a value judgment of just like, kind of like failing on Wall Street, failing in all the magazines, and I'm like, hey, maybe you should look in a new direction. Maybe you should try a new way. Not loving myself to me looked like punishment, as though if I wasn't producing, if I wasn't performing, that I had no value. And so much of that comes, I think, from my childhood, of the way that I felt that I got attention was being the best and being perfect and showing up with the best grades and being the star and look at my art and look at my this and look at my that and look at my performance, and feeling like I got so many kudos and pats on the back that became my modality. That if I wasn't achieving, I don't know if any of this is resonating for any of y'all. Okay, I see some head shaking. And then I realized it really came into a place and a position where I was treating myself like a machine rather than a human being.
Okay. You didn't answer my question.
I'm sorry. I got so in my flow. Tell me, what was the question?
You were just thinking about being the star.
Yes.
The question was, at what age and when did you learn to love yourself? You were just talking about the pain part.
Great.
Thank you.
It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
I feel like I've gotten better probably over the past 5 years than I've ever been in my life, except for when I was a child, like small, tiny child. I think I loved the shit out of myself.
That was peak you.
That was peak me. I have to show you a picture of peak me. I'm getting all of these albums digitized for my family, and I came across this photo that I'll show you later of like me at 4, and there was a hailstorm in New Jersey in the springtime, and so I had a short sleeve shirt on, really cool badass pants, and like all this hail, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I think I loved myself as a child. I think I loved myself like sometimes, but I punished myself a lot from late 20s through probably mid to early 40s, and then had to really make some changes because I was like bad to me. Not intentionally, but I developed some unhealthy habits.
So you're saying in the last 5 years,
Yes.
it's like when you're like returning to peak you.
Yes.
So what happened then?
What happened was I started noticing these habits that no matter how much I was working, and like I can work, you know what I mean? Like I'm gritty, and I will wake up, and I'm the kind of human that if someone needs me, whether it's my business or my family or my friends, like I will show up in work boots and I will have a pot of coffee, and you know what I mean? Like I will stay until it gets done, and I do not give up. I'm like a bulldog. But I noticed that I was never letting myself rest. Like even though I was doing all the self-help things like meditate and work out, I do have a lot of physical activity, so because I need to get it out somehow. And I have never like abused drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff, but I realized I was like, wow, my body's really tired, and I wouldn't let myself lay on the couch for 15 minutes because it wasn't productive.
Wow.
Okay. I started waking up in the morning and going like, wait a minute, I'm the one that talks about creating a business and life you love, but I'm starting to hate this shit. So I was like, how, do you know what I mean? So some of the things that were always going really great started to not go really great, and I was having trouble understanding what was going on because I didn't realize anything had changed. And then I just realized that my standards and my desire to keep achieving and producing kept going up, but there was pieces of my soul that were shifting that I was giving no attention to.
Okay. If you're watching this, if you're playing the drinking game, that was the first expletive. Go ahead and have your first drink today.
And it wasn't that bad, was it?
No, there's no
it was-
judgment. I'm just
okay,
saying.
good.
I'll keep count.
Excellent.
That was a
I
one.
love it. And I love that I don't have to pay for this. Like, the swear jars thing, I was like, oh my God, it would bankrupt me. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
So Gwen has a question, but before we get to
Yes.
Gwen, there are, I think, 4 dudes in the room, and then everybody else is a woman.
Yes.
And I know this is a crazy question to ask you.
Ooh.
Do you think women struggle with this more than men in terms of learning to love themselves and
Yes.
to prioritize themselves?
100%.
Okay, can we talk to the audience here?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
yeah, that's just my POV.
So here's the thing I wanted to say. I do say this to a lot of people. I love myself like you cannot believe.
I love that for you, Chris.
You just cannot even believe the amount.
No, I
you
love
know?
it. It makes me so happy.
Like when you're like 85, I'm like, that's kind of low, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Look, I'm a work in
Right?
progress.
So the story I like to tell people is this. One day I'm like going through my mobile and somebody's like, oh, Chris, everything you do is great. I'm like your #1 fan. And I'm smiling and I show it to my wife. She goes, psh, who's this person? Well, who's this girl? And she's like checking it out. It's like, she's not your #1 fan. I'm like, she's not? She goes, I am. And I say, no, babe, I am.
Ooh.
And then she looks at me like, forget you. We're still married. Hanging on by a thread, but we're still married. So let's talk about this, the kind of gender dynamics when it comes to this idea of love.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is shaped by our childhood, as you pointed out already, in terms of what conditions did you grow up in a household where you look to mom or dad or both to get a sense of validation.
Yes.
Good job, Marie. I'll keep going. AP classes, 4.0, all those kinds of things. And the thing is, I've become very aware of that. So when I raise my children, I never tell them I'm proud of them. They get love unconditionally, and we don't look at accomplishments at all. Never check their homework, don't look at the grades. You just do you. So it's like me running an experiment. But to turn it to the group here, men and women now, this is a small sample group. We're never going to crack the puzzle. I'd like to talk to the group here a little bit and engage you all. And just try and keep it short so we can get as many voices in a conversation as possible. Do you think your gender or the way that you were raised, with the expectations put on you, that you kind of had it worse than the other gender? I'd love to hear. Or do you think it's just individual and circumstantial? Okay, let's pass the mic to her. Yeah, you have the mic, Lynn. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just press the button right there, turn it on.
You got it.
Hi there.
Beautiful.
To answer your question, I think it really depends on how you were raised, what culture you came from. I came from a strict Asian background, so there was a lot of pressure, coming from there to be perfect, and especially if you're a woman, there was one way that you had to be, and, my parents were immigrants, and when I grew up, I was taught a certain way of thinking that's not always easy to undo, but I managed to undo it, and I broke through it. But to answer your question, I think it depends on how you were raised, your culture, and...
But what is your opinion? Do you think women have it harder than
Yes.
men? Okay.
I do.
Because?
We give birth.
Shh. No, go. If you don't have the mic, you know how it goes.
There's a way of thinking that's put upon you at a young age, coming from the culture I came from, that you have to be a certain way.
Perfect. I'll ask you this, and if you can answer it, that'd be great, and we'll move on.
Okay.
What is the self-story? What is the voice that you hear in your head that tells you you have to be a something? Do you know what that voice sounds like, and can you voice it for us? If not, that's okay.
I feel like I'm in therapy. I think it's just maybe my dad saying, you gotta be this, you gotta be that.
Can you give it the exact statement that you can hear? You got to be what? You got to be the best?
Responsible.
Oh, you got to be responsible.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
We all got to be a little more responsible. Okay. That's not bad. Okay, somebody else. Let's pass the mic. Okay.
I'm glad you brought this up because that was my question. I think personally, I think women definitely have it worse. I'm probably one of the older people in the room. I was in a generation where I think females were raised to be of service, to do for others. That's where we got our external validation. And males were doing for themselves. So I was before Title IX, so, you know, being in sports, being competitive, the more you were self-obsessed, that's where the external validation got. So I think it translates into corporations too. Women have to do more and prove more always to get paid more or pay equally. And there's a McKinsey report, so if you want to look at it from 2025.
Don't you point your finger at me.
And I think that's what it is. And to sum it up, it's about being enough and doing enough.
Okay, so Gwen is saying from a cultural point of view of a certain age, women were not really taught to prioritize their own needs, to serve other people, perhaps find a man, support, raise children, as Milka had pointed out.
Correct.
So it's never like we've never put ourselves in charge.
Yeah.
Or like not as a priority for ourselves, yes?
Yeah,
You
well,
wanna say
I
something?
think that there's so many influences for all of us, and you know, there's the cultural aspect. Like, I come from a very traditional Italian American household where so many of the women, like including my mom, God bless her, but all she did the moment my brother was born was like every single thing was to be of service to the husband and the family, and all of her needs basically were non-existent. And so I think that has been prevalent in many different of our cultures. I can only speak to my own experience and friends and people that I've connected with. So it's not everywhere, of course, because there's always exceptions, and God bless. And I do think that things are changing. But I think they're, you know, from our teachers to media to our families to certain things that we hear or pick up on, even subconsciously, it's like, oh no, you know, this is who you are meant to be in the world, and it is to serve others. So I do think that, again, maybe not universally, but for many of us, it can be a challenge.
Right. We'll move the mic here and then we'll end it. Sorry, Milka, let me just say this one thing though.
Yes.
Our parenting styles, my wife and I, are so different that you could
Amazing.
not be more different. She's hyper vigilant and hyper attentive. She's always like, what's the next step? What are you doing? And it's like, literally my son is sick. She goes, did you read the packaging? Are you going to take it? Not before this. And she hits me like, go get him his medicine. I'm like, he's 22 years old. He can do this. And the way that, like, it's a little scary. I mean, I'm broad statements here. I would sometimes take my kids to the playground with no wife around, and they would just play, and I would just be reading a magazine.
Yeah.
And then one time my wife creeped up on me because she was playing tennis. She's like, where's your son? I'm like, oh, he's right. Where's my son? I think he's over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas my wife literally would drop him off at the top of the slide and run as fast as possible to the bottom of the slide and catch him on the way down. So it's that kind of attention to others.
Yeah.
And so I think that what happens in some cases is we lose ourselves and we become resentful because we did this thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's bounce it over here. You wanted to say something, right? Earlier you did. You
There was
lost
one-
it. Milka will take it. You pause.
No, I can ask.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you had gestured like you wanted to say something. Okay, go ahead.
So, well, now when you talk about like these,
Well, you got to keep the mic close to your mouth. Yeah.
okay. So how do you find way back when you like kind of lost in everything that, okay, I don't feel good at the moment because I'm always serving others, but it's time for me to put myself first.
Yes.
So maybe some action steps or maybe some things that
Perfect.
keep you know.
Absolutely.
We could do that, right?
Oh, are you
Yes.
kidding me? All day, every day, forget about it. So I think it really depends on what's happening with you. Like, so for me, there was a lot of physical degradation, meaning like my energy wasn't what it used to be. I was having a little bit of brain fog, like a bunch of different things physically were showing up. I was starting to get aches and pains in my body, and I'm like not an aches and pains kind of person, you know? So I had to start giving deeper attention to my physical health, which meant really doing some deep dives, blood work wise, going a lot of starting to uncover things and understanding, oh, my body's changed now. I can't eat gluten anymore. And as an Italian American, it's like, WTF, are you kidding me? What you talking about, taking away my bread and my pizza? So, that was kind of my entree point. And then when I started feeling better physically, then it was like, well, how do you want to spend your time differently? And I noticed all these new things were kind of rising up from the ground, almost like, it's springtime now and we're here. It's like little flowers coming up, like you want to take a cooking class, and doing things that had absolutely nothing to do with productivity, production, my business, anything like that. I think that if you don't have physical ailments happening like I did, there might be like, if you had all the time in the world and all the money in the world, what's one little thing that you would love to do, right? While I just said that to you, I watched your eyes go like this, which tells me you had a flicker of something that yes, it did, that smile of recognition. Look at her light up. So whatever that thing is, I can almost guarantee you that there's a little way that you can give that to yourself. And whether it's a half hour, I see tears coming in your eyes. I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels like there's emotion in there because you haven't had a chance or given yourself the opportunity to do that, and you deserve that. You are on this planet to be joyful and to be expressive, and you are a creative being. And I promise you this, and I'm not saying this from theory, I'm saying this from experience, that the more that you give yourself that gift of being in those spaces or places or being creative, it will have such an extraordinary, exponential, positive effect on everyone around you. Most importantly, you. So it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to flip the table on your life. You don't have to get divorced and quit everything and screw y'all, going and moving to Bali or what. You don't have to do that unless that is truly what your soul is I need to do this. You don't need to. But those small things, I'll give you guys an example of what I did. It was a few weeks ago, I don't know why this came up, but I've been having this passion around cooking. I do not want to become a chef, but I wound up signing up for this knife skills course in a tiny little French cooking school in Manhattan, in Mulberry Street. It was 3 hours. It was $100. I literally had the time of my life. Me and Chef Paul were best friends. Everybody else was there on oh, my sister made me come, and I'm battering him with questions, and I'm learning all these things. But it was 3 hours, $100, and I got so much aliveness. So whatever that is for you, and whatever's making these tears come, bless them, welcome them. This is your soul going, finally, she's listening.
Can I ask you a question, if I may? Can you articulate where your emotions are coming from? Can you talk about why you're getting emotional?
I don't know, maybe I don't always allow myself to be emotional and just be a lot. And, we talk about we put others first. And in my line of work, I put others' needs first. And I have two kids, 5-year-old and 2.5-year-old. So it's always that come first, and I'm trying to be the best wife, I can be the best daughter, the best everything. And I'm what about me?
Yes.
And just, again, putting my work first and trying to find that balance. I take late night calls when kids are calling me in another room, and I'm just be quiet, nobody's working. So all that, and just trying to find that balance. And it's how am I as a mom, how am I as a, and many other roles. And also thinking of my needs too.
Yes, and here's the good news. At least this was what's true for me. When I realized that kind of the way I was living and the way I was putting everyone else first, I was oh, I didn't blame anyone. I was I'm actually the monster here. I created this circus, which is really cool. Not putting myself down, but I was if I am this creative to create this big of a mess, I am just as creative to uncreate it, right? So if I was able to do all this and put all these, puzzle pieces ahead of me, then it's just going to take a minute. But I can rearrange the table, and that's exactly where you are right now. And I guarantee you can do it. It's always going to be a dance. It's always going to be a dance, but you're ready for it. And those emotions are the biggest indicator that it's this is your time.
Super. I want to take this moment to wish everyone happy International Women's Day.
Yay!
We're on theme, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I believe the thing that you're saying applies to everybody, not just women.
Absolutely,
It's
100%.
especially resonant with women.
Yes.
And I want to share this thing that my coach would always say to me, which is, Chris, every time I had a complaint for him, he's there are no victims, just volunteers.
Correct.
You volunteered for this. So my wife sometimes will snap at all of us like, you guys make your own food. I'm like, oh shoot, what did we just do? But every time somebody's sitting around, she's like, are you hungry? Are you hungry? I'm like, yes, but I can go no, I'll make you something right now.
Yeah.
And so probably the best rule is don't do something unless it gives you joy.
Yes.
Maybe before we move to Bali and divorce our others and leave our children behind, just don't volunteer for things that you don't thoroughly enjoy. It doesn't give you joy, that spark. And some of us need to be explicit in explaining to whoever our partners are, let's set up some rules. Because it's just been expected. So it's an unwritten rule that I do everything. While your life is more important than mine, we just need to reclaim some of that. I would suggest that.
Absolutely. I have a little mantra, actually, that because as a person with a very interesting brain, ADHD, but I don't really care so much about labels. I just know it goes all over the place, and I have difficulty focusing. Mantras are really helpful because they can help me rewire my own brain. So here's one of mine that you all are free to borrow, use if you like. Only say yes to those things you're willing to do joyfully. So only say yes to that which you are willing to do joyfully. And that takes care of 99% of the things. And then those things that you do just have to do, because there are things in life that we have to show up for, then it becomes a game of how can I do this joyfully? How can I make this joyful? So I learned a great lesson from my parents with that. I remember there were times when I was a kid, my dad had like a rush job. So we had a printing business, right? And so there was an actual building that we went into. This was obviously before digital. We're talking about the 80s. And the rush job, it was like, we have to get this done for one of his clients over the weekend. Now, how many kids want to go work over the weekend? Not many of them. But my parents would turn this into a party, and they would bring the boom box. So it was like the big mega boom box, and we're listening to music, and we're ordering pizzas and stuff. And so you can take anything that you don't necessarily want to do, and you can create a way to do it joyfully.
Yeah.
Bring the party.
I know it's going to sound weird, and we're going to move on to number 2. I'm preparing you for that, whatever number 2 is, okay? Is that it seems like when we prioritize ourselves, society will tell us that's selfish. That our own happiness, our own joy is being selfish. And I have to say this. If you've ever been around anybody, someone who's miserable, it's very hard to be around them and to be happy around them. So I would always tell my wife, your number one job in the world is just to be happy. Whatever it is that makes you happy will make me happy. But sometimes that's not enough. I'm just saying, just please be happy. Dear God, please just be happy. That's all we need. Because everyone in the house will be happier. And there was one time when there's a story, I'll share it real quick. She was talking about my son and doing something, and she was amazed at his achievement. And she's like, isn't it amazing how X does this? I'm like, yeah. You know where he gets that from, right? And she turns to me just gobsmacked, like, I can't believe you're going to take credit for this thing. I'm the one parenting this child 99% of the time. You just float in, and you dare to say that. You just love yourself so much, don't you? And I was like, I'm going to respond to this one. Because I can't lose a fight, so I'm like, let me figure this out. I should lose a fight. I should just take a knee and say, it's done. But I say, I do love myself a lot. And I just wonder if you would love me if I didn't love myself. If I needed you to validate my joy, my happiness, my sense of self-worth, what room would that leave for you and what you need to do? So don't you think it's good for me to love myself? And
yes.
Don't you love yourself? I ended the conversation there. Yeah. I did not win it, but she walked away. So, love yourself.
Love yourself.
Okay, so we're getting back to this thing. You're going to find out what you love to do.
Yes.
You talked about, being this multi-passionate, which is, I think, a term you coined, right?
Yes.
I can't believe you coined that, but amazing.
Yes.
Okay. This is where I have some problems, because you didn't say, find out what the many things you love to do. You said, find out what you love to do, which sounds like one thing, but okay.
It's nuanced.
It's nuanced.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous for our people who are like, yeah, she said be a multi-passionate. When they hear that, what I feel like is a lot of people who are not good at anything saying she said be a multi-passionate.
Mm-mm.
I'm a web designer. I'm a developer. I'm a logo designer. I'm a painter, potter. I can sew. It's like, no, you can't. Not in this lifetime. Not at this age. And then they have no opportunities. So can you address that a little bit? Where people are literally, I review websites quite often. Mm-hmm. There's 17 slashes by their name and their title. It's like, you're a serial killer because you're a slasher. This is all you do.
Right.
Just do one thing.
Yeah. This is interesting, and here's where we need to be nuanced. Here's why things don't always fit into sound bites or quick little lists that can be shared on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. So, one frame to consider. People are at different seasons and stages of their lives. And different seasons and stages of lives require different sets of focuses and different responsibilities. So let's put this in context. For some, not all, but for many of us, when we are in our 20s, let's say, before we have a mortgage, before we have family, before we have kids, there might be more of an opportunity, right? In theory, this sounds plausible, that you can go try a bunch of different things and knit together a bit of, let's say, a multi-passionate career. So for me, I was bartending and waiting tables. That's part of what my stability to keep a roof over my head. I was starting to train and dance, becoming a Nike elite dance athlete. So that became a revenue source. I still had my personal coaching business. I was developing group programs. I was also teaching a little bit of striptease at bachelorette parties on the side, right? So there were all of these interesting things that I was doing, but I did not have a mortgage. I did not have a family, right? So that made sense. Now, there might be other people who are single in their 50s, 60s, 70s who no longer have those obligations, and for them, they can have another shot at that kind of experience. Does that make sense? Now, here's another layer to this. Being multi-passionate doesn't mean that you monetize every passion. This is something big that I often like to teach people in our program, B-School. You know, there came a point in my own journey where I had the coaching aspect of my business, the digital part of my business. I had group programs, I had online programs, I was doing one-on-one consulting, I was doing speaking. I was also doing a lot of work. I was teaching probably 4 to 6 fitness classes a week between hip hop and actual sculpt and like different things like that. So I had all of these different revenue streams, and then I hit a point where I'm like, it's too much. And I really paused and I said, how do I want the next decade or two to go? And I sat down and I imagined myself into my future. And I said, do I foresee myself in my 30s, 40s, and 50s still being on all of these big fitness stages, right? And earning money through my physical body performing in that particular way. And when I tapped in, my own intuition was like, I gotta know. And then when I thought about the idea of making money through writing books or speaking, again, all of the stuff that exists right now did not exist at that point, but I had this inkling or this idea that I could see myself all the way into my 60s, 70s, and 80s, like on stages or creating things. And my intuition was like, that's where you need to focus. So I made a very conscious decision to stop all the other revenue streams, stop bartending, walk away from dance and fitness, and go 100% in on the coaching and the business aspect of it. I am still a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I still bring influences of dance and music and all the things into my business, but my choice was to focus in on one thing and allow those other passions to simply fuel my energy and to build into a unique expression that no one else has who does the kind of things that I do.
Okay. I believe that the faster you do the thing that you were meant to do on this earth, the more successful you become. I figured it out, you figured it out. Just by a show of hands in the room here, and those that are watching a live stream, you could comment. How many people believe they are doing the thing that they were meant to do on this earth? Raise your hand. Okay, that's not a ton of people. That's like less than half, everybody. So this is quite interesting. The second question is, if you're doing the thing that you're meant to be doing in this lifetime, I believe that you're supposed to be successful. So now the same 5 people raised their hand. Raise your hand again if you think you're really successful doing this thing. You can't be halfway pregnant. You got to be all in.
She said different seasons, different times.
But I'm talking now, Milka. I'm talking now.
Chris is like, it's my show, y'all. It's my show.
I'm the captain now. You know what I mean? So no or yes?
Starting.
No. The answer is no.
I say yes then.
Well, that was quick. Okay. Okay, I like that. Okay, fine. So half the hands went down. So we're now about 2 to 3 people in the room. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. So here's my thing to you, to all of
Yes.
you, whoever's watching and listening. If you are doing the thing that you were meant to do in this lifetime on this planet, and you're not successful, we can help you. Because the rest is mechanical, I believe, right?
Yeah, and I didn't know if we went here yet, and you can feel free to put this in the bucket so it's really good and
Yeah.
actionable. But the other thing that popped into my mental theater was about playing a winning game. Once you know the thing that, again, at this stage and season of your life, you're like, this is what I want to devote the vast majority of my time and my life energy and my attention to, whatever that thing is. And whether, again, multi-passionate, you have a single passion, we're all built different, whatever feels good to you, play a winning game. So what does that mean? This became really clear to me when actually we were at a conference together in Dubai, which was tons and tons and tons of creators. So there was someone, most of us are familiar with a gentleman called Mr. Beast, and there's lots of other humans that have these enormous, enormous social platforms and channels and all different kinds of things. And for me, I think it's really easy, especially for young people, but people of all ages, you can kind of look out into the social world and be like, wow, if I'm not Mr. Beast, and I'm just using him as an example, I'm not successful, right? If I don't have a gajillion, the most followers, getting these big deals, television shows, all this stuff, then I'm not a thing. I'm not successful. And you could do that in any domain. And for me, one of the things I love to do is to help people define success for themselves. Because sometimes it's actually not about having the hugest, biggest business. Like there's many B-schoolers that I've worked with. I've helped over 80,000 people start and grow businesses. So I have a really cool kind of perspective because I hear a lot of stories and I see a lot of things over these past 15 years. And sometimes what success is for some people at this stage and season of their life is actually making the same amount of money that they made 2 years ago, but they work half the time. And for some people, they're actually like, I actually make less money, but I'm working with better people. My team is operating better. I have so much less stress. I have so much more flexibility. So that's why I think this notion of having the courage to define success for yourself at this stage and season of your life is so critical. Because if you spend any amount of time on your phone, if you spend any amount of time looking at your colleagues or competitors, however you want to frame them in your mind, it becomes really easy to judge yourself against what someone else is going for. And here's how I like to think about this. Every single soul on this planet, and this is my belief, comes here, incarnates to learn a certain group of lessons and have a certain group of experiences. And someone is running their own race. It's like Mr. Beast is doing Mr. Beast. And ain't nobody else gonna do him. And it's like he's doing him to the fullest degree. But what's your thing that lights you up? Chris, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I've certainly experienced this in my journey, where I've gotten snookered by looking at what somebody else is doing or what somebody else is creating and like gotten off my path a little bit, or like, oh, I want to do that too, or chase that thing, and I was frigging miserable. I wasted so much time. Like after the thing was over, of course I learned a lesson, but monetarily it wasn't worth it. Time-wise, I'm like, what the hell was I looking over there for? So I just want to say in this notion of play a winning game for yourself and have the courage to define what that is. And by the way, a winning game might look for you like the next 1 to 3 years. Be open to that game changing as your life advances, as different things happen in the world, as you make new discoveries, as things shift with your family, your desires and ambitions will change. Who you are right now is not who you are going to be in the next 10, 15, or 20 years. So enjoy this portion of the ride and then get ready for life to bring you something new.
Wonderful. Your question threw me for a curve.
Ooh.
Because I thought you were going to say if you've been snookered by playing the comparison game. But this is the distraction game.
But rooted for me, it was rooted in comparison.
Okay, yes. I've not often fallen into that trap.
Good for you.
It's because I love
You're
myself too much. That's the problem.
This is
Gwen's
the
laughing because she
benefit-
knows the truth.
No, but this is the benefit of loving yourself so much that you will not get off your own path. So I think that you're an
Yes.
excellent demonstration
So
of that.
I'll give
I
you an
love that.
example.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we started our business in 1995, making commercials and music videos, we were my maturity, my business acumen was fairly low relative to the kind of clients we're working with, because we're working with ad agencies, and we built the business out of our house in Venice. And clients from like really big Madison Avenue agencies would come to the house, and I'm like, man, I'm not bothered by it. But my producers, who were fairly young and not as confident as me, were like, Chris, is it weird? I'm like, hey, if I'm comfortable here, we're comfortable here.
Yes.
And they literally walked in and like looking around like, okay, this is where we're gonna be. Now we had multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment there, and it didn't matter that it was in my house in Venice on a crazy street with trash and people getting murdered in the streets. But that was our office. I've always said that, like, this is how we do it. If they don't want to work with us, no problem.
Yes.
It is what it is. Okay, let's do this. I want to talk about money a little bit. Is that okay?
Of course.
So we first said, you got to figure out what it is that you love to do and do that. And
Yep.
it's okay to be in different seasons in your life. You have to be able to play a winning game. And there's something else in here. But okay, now I want to talk about this, about the poor and the infinite money mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have a bad relationship with money.
Yes.
And I think I have an infinite money mindset, but we'll talk about that. So
Okay.
in order for us to be able to build a business that we love, it has to be sustainable. It has to provide for us more than we provide for it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's talk about those differences that you've seen, because 80,000 people in, I'm sure you see a lot of patterns.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest, most important things. First of all, I think that so many of us, and it's very understandable, are super twisted up about money. It's probably one of the most difficult topics in our culture, and it's been that way for a very, very long time, from influences, from religious influences, and all different kinds of things. But most of us, like, secretly we want more of it, but then we think, are we a bad person for wanting more of it? And if we have more of it, do other people have less? And I think so much of that is rooted in this absolutely toxic idea of scarcity. And scarcity is one of the most destructive mindsets, not only in business and not only as it relates to money, but as it relates to love, as it relates to relationships, as it relates to creativity. The notion that there is not enough and therefore, and I am not enough and I don't have enough, that is the source of so much of our collective, both individual and global misery. Here's the truth that we know about money. It is abundant. There is more money now than there has ever been in the entire world. We have the data on that. And the notion of a fixed pie fallacy, that there is just some set amount of money, and if I get some because Chris buys some of my products and services, that all of a sudden Chris has less and the world has less, it is just the most destructive BS in the world. So that's the thing that we have to just banish from our consciousness. I don't know how we'll do that, but I hope we can do that. Okay, beyond that, I think it's important that each of us recognize that just like different animals and creatures on the planet, like an elephant is going to have desires for more food than, let's say, a tiny insect. Would you guys agree? Both creatures are incredible. They're wonderful, but one needs more than the other. Similarly, like we were just talking about, how I believe every soul comes onto this planet needing to learn certain lessons and have different experiences, and who are we to judge? I believe the same thing is true when it comes to money. That people come into this earth, in this incarnation, and some people need to learn how to master really large amounts of it. And other people, for whatever reason, are happy, satisfied, and want smaller amounts of it. That needs to be okay. But you have to get clear on who you are and what you want and what's going to work for you. Because I've seen people have these huge ambitions, like, I need to have a 10 or 20 or 50 or $100 million business. And I'm like, why? And it's just because they have some notion, some egoic-based notion of they're not going to be good enough, or they're not going to be a real entrepreneur until they get there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think that being clear on your own financial goals, understanding what your financial picture looks like, do you have debt, don't you have debt, do you care, what's your family obligations, who are you responsible for, what are your financial goals in the next 3, 5, 10 years? If you can get clear on those bits, then all of a sudden we can start to reverse engineer a business that can aim towards those goals and hit them sustainably.
Okay, let's get into this. You said that some of us have this belief that we secretly desire to have money, but the admission of that makes it feel really bad because money's the root of all evil. We've heard that expression, right?
Which is so not true.
Right. So how do we get somebody away from that? Because I have many friends who limit their earning potential and limit what they can charge and how they think about themselves and their business. And I know this because sometimes I tell people, this is what I charge for an hour. And they freak out and they're like, no one can charge. Who do you think you are? And it's all this kind of nonsense. Not
Yes.
possible, blah, blah, blah. They go
Yes.
on and on. I say, well, not possible for you, I guess, because you believe it not to be true.
Yes.
How do we get somebody from that state to like, oh, it's unlimited?
Yes.
How do we get there?
Well, I think different people start to absorb information in different ways. Like there might be some rational, fact-based people who would respond really well to perhaps a presentation, a book, a set of arguments around legitimate facts, like how much wealth there was in the world, let's say 300 years ago, and watching it increase over time. There's other people that it's really energetic and it was instilled in them by their family and by teachers, and money is the root of all evil and it doesn't grow on trees and all that stuff. So again, I told you guys that I'm a huge fan of mantras. This was a mantra that helped take me from being really effed up about money, having like tons of debt, wanting lots of it, feeling like I didn't deserve it, unworthy, all this stuff. And it's a single 3-word phrase that literally can change your entire life. I love money. I love money. Just
What's
like Chris,
the mantra?
I love money.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
And I do. And so when you were talking about loving yourself, it's like anything in this world that we pour the energy of love into transforms. It's like love is the answer to every problem, including money. And so I want you to just consider this for a moment. What would your financial life look like if you poured only the energy of love into it? If you loved your bank account so much that you wanted to understand it? If you loved money so much that you wanted to understand how it could grow, what's going to make it thrive? You wanted to really know what happens. What do I need to do? How do I need to interact with this thing in order to have it grow and be abundant? Like, does anyone honestly think hating it, thinking it's evil, thinking it's not enough, if you treated any person in your life with that energy, do you think you'd have a positive or negative relationship? What do you think your outcome would be? Crap, right? Now flip it around. If there was anything in your life that you poured love, attention, good vibes, good energy, curiosity into, do you think you would have a positive or a negative outcome in that particular domain? What do you think? Don't make it more complicated than this. Never has there been more information available for free on the friggin' planet about how to manage your money. So most of it is here and in here. So a couple things that you can do. Anytime that I have written a check, and this was especially important for me, especially when I didn't have a lot of money, is I would, and this was when writing checks were still a thing that we did. There's always more where that came from. And I'm not kidding you. I know this is going to sound really cheesy and you guys can, think what you want, but I would bless it. I would love it. I would say thank you. Oh my God, isn't this amazing? I would always take care of my money, like the physical money. Again, I don't know how many of us still carry around cash. I do a little bit, but when I was a kid, you want to hear this? I don't know how I figured this one out, but I remember hearing my mom and my dad argue about money, and that was the reason that the divorce happened. And it was about, I kept hearing dirty money. I don't know if anyone ever had messages around that money's dirty, la, 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 la. So you know what I wound up doing? Washing my money in the sink and ironing it and pressing it so it was clean and taken care of. I'll be quiet there for a moment, but there are so many little things that you can do to change your relationship with money, but I think starting with that mantra, especially if it makes you uncomfortable, is going to be one of the most powerful things you can do.
I'm going to test your life coaching skills.
Oh.
Is that okay?
You can do whatever you want, whether or not I sink or swim.
Okay.
I'll be fine no matter what, because I love myself.
I want to pull Milka into this conversation. So can we hand the mic back to Milka, please? Milka? Yes, I'll get to you. I told you. I remember you. Okay. So Milka, I want to talk to you a little bit about this. Okay. So I want you to help a couple people. Somebody else I'm going to pull in, surprise. right after Milka. We'll see.
Absolutely.
I don't, Milka, what is your relationship with money? Do you like it?
Hello, can you hear me? I believe it's mutual. I don't hate it, and maybe I don't crave it. I crave more for experience, a relationship with people, meaningful life, purposeful life.
So you don't like it?
You
don't love it for sure.
As I said, it's from maybe 0 to 5. It's 3.
Are you sure? You just described a 1 to me. You described a lot of other things before money. Experiences, relationships.
Okay, for the sake of devil's advocate, 1. Sure, let's go.
No, you can. It's not my perspective. It's literally how you responded to the question.
But
I asked you, do you like money? You're like, it's mutual. You didn't answer it. Then you're like, I prioritize other things like relationships and experiences.
It's not about if I love money or not. I think, in my humble opinion, money also comes with a lot of responsibilities. My sister, who's a surgeon, she definitely loves herself, and she's an absolute what do you call when you love yourself?
Narcissist.
Narcissist. She's an absolute narcissist. Big house, big car, big dog, big everything. And I do see how she really takes care of her money. She's on top of it daily. She talks about it all the time. She listens to podcasts about money. I see it, and I admire her for that. I just think that I may not have that in me as much, because my passion and my love is more about creativity, about more exploration, finding out solutions that I didn't expect, serendipity. So that's where my focus goes.
Yes.
Okay, so on a 1 to 5, how much does Milka love money based on her response?
Well, I actually want to take this outside of that, because this is why this is the perfect illustration. You are wonderful. She is a demonstration, and your sister, it sounds like, came into this world because part of what her soul wanted to experience or learn or have a conscious demonstration of is abundance in a particular form as it relates to finances, right? Based on what you said. Your experience in this particular incarnation may not be about that at all. Your soul came in, it sounds like, because you really want to explore different themes around creativity and spontaneity. You may have handled this in another lifetime, because when I see you, when I look at you, when I feel into you, I don't feel struggle around money. Like you may be, it comes or it goes, but I don't see you negatively pushing it away. And you can tell me if I'm wrong there. But if it's neutral for you and it's not a problem, I'm not suggesting that you or anyone needs to go fall in love and do French kisses with money if that's not your thing. I'm just saying that for any of us, because I have experienced my own struggle around it, that there is a path to having a very healthy relationship with money, so it is not the constant source of stress, anxiety, fear, and lack.
Yeah. It definitely can be a source of anxiety. My daughter's getting married, so I'm like,
So if you want, it's like you might say, I'm willing to have an even more loving relationship with money. That doesn't mean that it becomes your number one priority. That doesn't mean that you need to focus all your time and energy around it. That doesn't mean that you need to give up all of your passion around creativity and serendipity. But you might be like, if I wanted to improve my relationship with money and have even more love towards it and have it have more love towards me, what might that look like? And then see what comes up for you.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chris, Jeremy.
Of course I do. You don't love money. What are the odds that money loves you?
Oh, money loves me.
How do you know? Does money chase after you? Does money fall into your lap? Are you showering in money? Do you sleep comfortably on a mattress of money?
No.
So maybe money doesn't love you.
I think money loves me because I consider myself lucky for experiences that I've had.
That's good. I think that's just having a grounded perspective. But objectively speaking, does money love you? I'll ask you a different question.
Sure.
How stressful is your life on a scale of 1 to 10?
What perspective?
Any perspective you wish. How much stress do you feel on a day-to-day basis, average out over the last couple of years, on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you a low-stress person, a medium, or a high-stress person?
I've been able to neutralize it to 5.
Okay. Neutralized, so it's been higher.
Yeah.
When it's been higher, what's the highest number you've experienced?
I think I became numb when I got to stage higher than, maybe 8 or 9.
Okay,
I
so
became
much that you became numb.
Yeah.
Now, when you were in that peak state of stress, how much of it was money related? Any or none?
It wasn't money related.
So none. 0% of it was money related.
It was maybe relationship related, maybe it was health related.
Okay, pause on those two things.
Yeah.
Do you remember earlier Marie was saying her parents got divorced because they fought about money?
Yeah.
I think money is one of the biggest things that leads to divorce.
It
So
is.
when you say relationship, see, I'm going to be just making a lot of assumptions. Beat me up after the show because we know each other. We've known each other for decades, okay? Is we avoid talking about money. We'll call it anything but money. We'll call it relationship problems. Or now we have like student problems or marriage problems or health problems. Here's the one thing that I read from Mr. Blair, and he was quoting somebody else, and he said something like, if you can write a check to solve a problem, you don't have a problem. So people who have money, who don't spend it, they choose to have a problem. My goal in my life is to never have any problems, so that if I had to write a check, I could do that. I'll give you an example, okay? Many years ago, my wife was remodeling our house, and she was stressed. I can see in her a lot of decisions. And anybody's ever been through remodeling, construction, it's a very stressful process. And she's looking at me like she wanted to cry. She wasn't going to cry. And she goes, I can't decide, honey. I need you to decide. I said, I'm running the business. I cannot just randomly be shown a piece of tile and say, that's the one. I have to live this. I have to be it. And I said, you can decide. And she goes, I don't know how to decide. I said, what happens if you get it wrong? What happens if you get it wrong? Well, I'm going to feel horrible because I made the bad decision and it's going to be a waste of money, time, and resources, and I'm going to hate it the whole time. I said, let's make this problem go away. After they install it, make your best guess. If you don't like it, just tell them to pull it out. We'll just write another check. And for some reason, all of a sudden, I could just see the stress melt from her. And she goes, really? And that was like the most loving thing I could say in that moment. I could feel the tenderness from her, like, wow, the mistake is not a mistake. Yes, it's not good to throw away materials, but so be it. It'll be totally fine. So when you say, oh, it's relationship problems, now if we didn't have means and these things were happening, it would be very stressful at the Doe household. I know that. All I can say is whatever you want to do it. I'll figure out a way to make the money. It's not a problem. So now we go back to your question. When you felt numb to the stress that you were having in your life, how much of that was related to money? And to be really honest about it, knowing your own cognitive bias towards not calling it what it is.
Again, it all depends
It's your answer.
what season, what stage, what focus.
In that stage, in that season.
But if we want to focus on reasons for money, yeah, it was very stressful. So what I did, the way to solve it is let it go.
Well, that's not a solution, but that's okay too. But I'm asking, you see, I think you're avoiding the question. I hate to do this to you. You just don't want to answer the question. That's okay. I'll give you one more shot, otherwise we'll move on.
But
Do you think having a lot of money would have made some of that stress go away? Like an infinite, abundant amount of money. Could have helped the stress in the relationship. Could have helped release stress in the health part.
of course, absolutely.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah. Money, to me, enough money, to have enough money to live, as I said, a purposeful life, a meaningful life, and a comfortable life. My sister, she I hope she's not watching this, but it's not enough for her. And we both came from parents where they did fight over money. There were people who were born in 1920s during World War I and experienced World War II. So for them, scarcity was very, very important. And I've noticed that when money is an issue for me, I become like that as well. And I'm aware of it, thankfully.
Okay.
But when there is money flowing, I feel it's wonderful, it's great. I feel so generous. I feel like I'm abundant and I want to actually radiate that to others.
Right. Okay. Thanks for sort of admitting it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. If I may, I want to pull in one other person into this conversation.
Yeah, of course. This is fun.
Kika, are you comfortable enough to get on the mic, Kika, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hand her the mic, please? Kika's Kika's Drigo's sister, so Drigo's gonna have to run the cameras too. So yeah, let's do that. Because I think Kika doesn't actually have Well, I don't want to say. Kika, what's your relationship with money?
I mean, it'd be great if there was more.
What does that mean? It'd be great if I was younger or more beautiful, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, more money would be sick.
Do you actively think about money? Do you love money?
Yeah, I love money.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love money?
Oh, for sure, like a solid 9.
Solid 9. Does money love you?
Not right now.
You're like, talk to my boss. Yeah, I got it. She works for her brother. That's why.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so help her out because she doesn't make a lot of it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I make a good amount. I mean, it's LA. It's very expensive.
Absolutely. As a New Yorker, I understand. Curious to hear what your education level is like in terms of your own personal finance. Like, is it a place where you're like, you know what? Like, I love money. I want to understand how to grow it, and I have investments accounts set up, or I understand what my inflow and my outflow is. Like, tell me where you're at with that, paying attention to your money.
Thankfully, because of my brother, I'm pretty financially literate.
Yes.
I have a Roth. I have no debt.
Great.
I maximize my credit cards with points. Not
Winning.
maxing it out, like, because of debt. But
No, but getting the advantages. Absolutely.
I don't think I'm very ambitious in the sense of like, okay, I want to make X amount more.
Okay.
If it means taking away from like my mental health, like I'd rather work less and be happier.
Interesting. Okay, great. So it sounds like in there might be some wiring that in order to make a lot more money, that it's going to degrade your mental health.
Yeah.
Okay, great. No. And that's nothing. Thank you for admitting that. That is something that I think a lot of us have linked up. So wouldn't it be cool if you could start to dissolve that? Wouldn't it be cool if you started to live into a possibility where more money could come to you and it wouldn't degrade your mental health?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes, so let's start playing there. So being open to that possibility, first of all, is step number 1 for all of us. When we identify some sort of limitation or some sort of rule we have in there where there's conflict, just going like, isn't that interesting? Am I willing to see a new point of view? Am I willing to be open to ways where I could radically increase my income and my wealth? And wouldn't it be cool if wealth came to me in all kinds of ways, including outside of my job? Okay, so I want you to hang out there, because oftentimes when we're changing consciousness and we're changing beliefs at a deep level, like you can't push it, force it. It's not like you can flip a switch and it happens during the day. So I want you to just keep meditating on that and start being open. I am open and willing to see all kinds of ways to increase my wealth, my income, my bank account without taking away from or having a negative impact on my mental health. And I'll tell you this, as someone who has been on all different sides of the financial picture, my experience has been some of the greatest inflows have come not from me punishing my mental health, but from me being my most expressive, most fulfilled, most creatively abundant, and making the biggest impact on other people. So it kind of did the opposite than have a negative impact on my mental health. It actually helped me become a person that I'm really, really proud of and build on living into my full potential.
How does that sit with you?
I mean, I accept it, and I think that I know that that's true for you. I don't think it hasn't been my experience.
Yet. But ready? Pause on it. Ready? This is a magical thing. It hasn't been your experience, ... yet.
Gotcha.
Right? So we're just going to expand into newness. And that's what I think all of us do in every different area of our life. You know, like before I took my knife skills class, I was like, oh man, I might cut off a finger. Now I'm like, I'm gaining more capabilities. I'm gaining more possibilities. I'm gaining more ability to operate in the world in a better way. And that's the same thing for you.
Kika's very spiritual, so I'm surprised the spiritual conversation didn't hit her on the astral plane. And she's very much there. So Kika, I think you believe this. It's very rarely that we get what we don't ask for in the universe, right? Don't you have to attune yourself to vibrate on a frequency to get what you want? Or no?
That is the principle, yeah.
It is the principle. My wife's, I get secondhand woo, I'm just
absolutely.
saying, you know? So if we don't ask for it, we could get it, but it's not likely. We could get it. So if we don't design our life to be in a state of abundance where money freely flows in from us and out from us, What I love what Milka said right at the end there is, when I make a lot of money, I feel like I can give more of myself, and so it's not an evil thing. But I noticed in both of you, you created a condition in your life in which money was not possible. She said not at the cost of relationships, not at the cost of experiences, not at the cost of creativity. Who said it had to come at the cost of that? And you're saying, I would love a lot of money, but not at the cost of my own mental health. I'm a really creative person. I think I'm mentally pretty sane. I think I have pretty good relationships, and I have a freaking awesome relationship with money. So it's like this thinking that traps us, I think. Now, I know you have a secret dream. Now, I don't want to say it in case you don't want to share it, but like in your ideal life, you would love to, can I say it, or do you want to say it?
You can say it.
She's like, I don't want to work. I just want to be at home. I want to like take care of the house and be a good partner to my partner, right? And for that to happen, one of y'all has to make a lot of money.
No pressure, babe.
He was just here yesterday, so
amazing.
It's a family biz.
No, but see, that's the thing. This is kind of where we come back to. Remember when I was talking about this notion that every soul comes to this planet, again, my belief, to have a particular set of experiences and to learn different lessons and to be able to live into what they came here for. And if that is in your heart, yes, look, I'm watching you light up. If that's what your soul came into this body on this planet at this time for, that is amazing. And it also fits into the fact that, remember I was like, hey, well, what if wealth doesn't always have to come from your job? So there are infinite ways that money can come in and out of our lives. Mm-hmm. Infinite ways. So being open to that, and I think, Chris, it was just such a great point. It's being curious and not beating ourselves up, and being investigative around what kind of rules we have linked up, as though we're going to have to sacrifice our synchronicity and our desire for more creativity, or we're going to have to sacrifice our mental health in order to hold more wealth. And it's like, in many ways, I think financial wealth, for some of us, it certainly has been for me, is a form of mental health, because I don't spend time or energy in stress or fear around taking care of the basics or taking care of my family. So it creates a lot more mental health for me.
Yeah. My wife adores Kika. But when she's
I can see why. You have beautiful energy.
When she's around and when she's not around, we are like, she should be doing X, Y, and Z. This is her life calling. And I don't mean to like make you upset about that, but we're like, she could do this, she could do that. I'm like, yeah, babe, I don't know why she wouldn't do that. But to each their own. And I just want to make a little joke here, if that's okay. You're like, so your wealth doesn't have to come from your job, but it could come from your MAN. You see her processing? It took her a little bit. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, if that's what you want in your life. Mm-hmm. But I just find like we could talk to the cows come home or whatever the expression is, but people are really stuck here, Marie. So what do we do? How do we help people? Because even in this room, I feel the resistance.
Yeah, and it's really understandable. Again, most people have more comfortability talking about their sex lives than their money lives, and that's usually consistent over time. I think the number one thing is that if you don't feel great about where you're at financially right now, the first step is to just be willing. Being willing is the first step to anything transforming or changing. I am willing to have a more healthy, fluid, abundant, joyful, loving relationship with money. Whatever step you're ready for, whatever's not going to trigger your brain or your soul or your nervous system to seize up. And if you are willing, if you're starting there, and this is one of the things that I really like. I think in our world right now, we have been conditioned and trained to look externally for answers in terms of going online, going on Insta, going on TikTok, going on YouTube, going on podcasts, right? What does the expert say I should do next? And I actually want to flip that, because I think what's going to be more important, really more important, as we continue with the age in terms of technology. And I was looking at this study, I forget, it was either Harvard or MIT that came out with a study. It showed two different brains, one that was on ChatGPT and one that was not. And the amount of brain activity firing from the brains that are not asking chat or any large language learning model constantly for answers, it was firing up like a Christmas tree. And the one that had been patterned over these past few years to ask an external source for answers was dead. And so I'm a real believer, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So I'm going to turn this on you right now. If you are willing to have a better, more healthful, more abundant relationship with money, whether it's right here or a little bit later today or this evening, take some time, get still and quiet, whether you journal about it or meditate about it. Ask yourself, what would my next step be? And I want you to listen for the answer within. It's either going to be, go pick up that book that's been sitting on the shelf, or you should go listen to that podcast, or you know what you really need to do? You need to pay attention to all the subscriptions that you have. There's going to be something that is personal to you about your next best step. One of my favorite quotes ever, and I'm going to paraphrase this because I may not get the wording perfectly right, is the Martin Luther King quote. You don't have to see the whole staircase. It's about taking the first step in faith, right? And that was paraphrased. It's the same thing here. So if you are willing and you're like, I'm excited about having a better relationship with money, what should my next step be? Ask yourself, listen to the answer, and then obey it. Then obey it, whatever comes up.
Okay. Roderick, you want to say something? Okay,
His
great.
phone did, or his watch did.
Something. Oh, yeah, something.
Yes.
Okay. Shoot, I just lost
It's
my thought
okay.
here.
It happens to all of us.
Quick question. Can
Yes.
anyone make $100,000 a year?
If they really, really want to, I do believe that's possible.
Okay. Can anybody make $1 million?
If they really want to, yes.
Okay. So what, because we're running a little long here. I want to.
Oh, are we?
No, I mean, no, I'm good. I was just
Oh,
nervous
I'm
about
good.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, we've been
okay.
here for a minute.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
You guys are all so fabulous. You're so fun. I had no idea.
That was fun?
No, that we
Okay.
were going as long as we were going. I'm good.
All right. Let's do like a third thing.
Great.
You know, people like things in threes. So if I want to make I believe this, everybody in this room can make $100,000 a year. Everybody listening to this, no matter where you're in the world, you can do $100,000 a year, and I think it's easy. I don't even put the condition if you really want to. If you're willing to follow instructions, that's my only condition. And I believe everybody in this room can make $1 million a year if you want to and you're willing to follow directions. So give us your third most poignant thing about how we can build a business and life that we love.
Well, I would say for almost any business, and this may or may not be changing with AI, I think that you have to have people around you and people that you work with that your values align. And here's what I mean by that. So actually, after we're complete here, I'm going to be heading up to Santa Barbara. That's where my VP of operations is, and we've worked together probably for, 13, 14 years now. And her and I have so much fun. Our skills complement each other. We have the same values around money. We have the same values around work ethic. And for me, I think that building something that is profitable and impactful, and for me, joyful is a necessary criteria. I'm very clear that as a soul, part of my reason on this planet is to experience joy. That is one of the core reasons that I came into this body, because I think I had previous incarnations where that was not the case. So this one is like, no, girl, make it fun. Having people around you that you really enjoy their company, the values are aligned, and that you can create something big and fantastic. And big is a subjective term, something beyond yourself together. I think that is a key component to creating a business and life you love, because I haven't seen in my own world, I'm not able to do a ton on my own, and I don't want to. I love collaborating with people, and I love being able to work with their gifts and their skill sets and have them teach me things and have them expose me to new ideas and new possibilities that I couldn't have possibly thought of on my own. So I think that that's the other component.
Wonderful. Every successful entrepreneur that I've talked to
Yeah.
says something similar, that you need a great team and that you have to have aligned values, and the culture of the company is really important. I'm going to ask this for everyone out there that's a solopreneur.
Yes.
Who's like, I love that idea so much, but I can't seem to find good people.
Yes.
Either A, I don't know where they are, or B, I keep getting the C class, not the A class.
Yes.
How do we fix that?
Okay, few different ways to go about it. So one of the things that we talk about in B School as it relates to your business, we do something called your ideal customer avatar. And you really start to dream into and articulate exactly who your ideal customer is. And I'm highlighting and underscoring and throwing confetti at the word ideal. Not mediocre customer who really kind of wants you, but they can't afford what you offer or anything like that. I'm talking about ideal. I think it's important to do the same thing for your team. So your ideal team avatar or ideal employee avatar, whatever nomenclature that you want. And being really, really clear on who that person is. What are the values that they have? What are the kind of strengths that they have? What's their work ethic? There's been times and there's people that I've worked with who I think are fantastic and they're wonderful and they're honest and they're good. But for me, the work ethic, they're like, I can never work past 5 p.m. and I can never do this and I can never do, like there's so many boundaries. I'm like, dude, that's not how I roll. That's not practical for, I know how my expression lives into the world. So we are not a fit. So I think the more clear you can be about what is a must and a need to have versus a nice to have in terms of that person, the easier it is to begin to find them. And also to say no if you have somebody who's like, they look like they could maybe be it, but it's like, nah, it's not gonna work out. And then the other thing is this date to marry. So this is probably one of the best things that I've done in our company. You would never, most of us, unless you're on a reality TV show, would never go on a first date with someone and be like, we're gonna get married right away, right? Where you're just like jumping into bed and jumping into a long-term commitment. So with us, whenever we're going with a new hire, especially if it's a full-time hire, we always have a date to marry period where they get to work with us, we get to work with them, they are getting paid, but we're all on a dating period so that people can kind of present their best selves on paper. We all know because we've all done it. I've certainly done it. But then when you actually get into the cockpit and you need to start pulling all the levers and you need to start actually producing work and communicating, that's where things can often fall apart. For me, we've had a completely distributed company ever since the inception, so since 2001. So having the ability to communicate effectively in a virtual environment, being able to show up energetically, get work done, meet deadlines across time zones, if you can't do that, it's a non-starter. And so then, within 30 days, it's a lot easier to let each other go if it's not working out, rather than going down all the legalities of, firing someone.
Excellent advice. I understand the ideal client or customer avatar. I've not heard the ideal employee avatar, and that makes a lot of sense. 2 follow-up questions
Yes.
here. I have friends who have the means to hire people. Let's deal with them first.
Yes.
They are coming from a place of desperation, I think. I really need somebody to do this, and I don't want to learn about sales. I want to learn how to write email marketing or do these things, and I just hate all that stuff. So I'm just going to grab the first person who appears in front of me and put them in that role, and they have heavy bias. And I always warn my friends, most of my friends are creative people, artistic types.
Yes.
And they like to hire people who have a really good resume.
Yes.
Oh, you went to an Ivy League school? I'm like, that don't mean nothing. You got to talk to the person. And then they are super, in my judging language, desperate that they'll just hire the wrong person, even though 8 out of the 10 things completely bad fit.
They want a warm body.
They want a warm body
And
to
for
solve a
most,
problem.
and this is really true with most creatives, and I've seen this as part of one of the reasons that I started B School in the first place. Many creatives are like, no, I'm the visionary, I'm the creative. I hate all the business stuff, I hate all the marketing, I hate all the sales. Someone else should do that for me. And so I understand that rationale, I understand that line of thinking, but here's always been my pushback. When it comes to having a profitable business, you do need to, I believe, this is my belief, as a business owner, you need to understand the mechanics of sales and marketing. And really all it is human psychology. And if you get that, even if you're not the one executing on it day in and day out, which you may not need to be, nor should you be, you know how to hire someone who's good. You know how to judge the work. And I think it's going to be interesting as these next few years unfold, especially with AI, to see and to be able to, as a business owner, you have to have the discernment. Like I remember I was hiring for a copywriter probably like 1.5 years or 2 years ago, and I wanted people to submit their application. I was like, don't just use AI, but I want to know how you're using it. Show me your work. Show me your thinking. And someone who is so resistant to sales and marketing, they're just like, oh, someone else needs to figure that out. You're going to get taken for a ride. You're going to get schmoozed by, oh, this person worked for Netflix, or this was the CMO for La La La, or whatever. And you'll wind up paying through the nose, getting the crappiest results ever. And it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Second problem is the person who wants help desperately needs it, but they have a poor relationship with money, so they're not charging enough, they're not asking for enough,
Yes.
and then therefore they don't have the means to hire somebody good, so they keep hiring crappy people, or
Right.
nobody at all.
Right.
How do we solve that problem?
Well, I think that goes back to our financial conversation. I like to help people create a really clear profit picture for themselves and understand what are their revenue and profit goals for the next 12, 24, or 36 months. What's their monthly or yearly spend rate? What are the cost of goods? Like really having a very clear understanding of the numbers, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It's as much as like how much is coming in and how much is going out. And are you charging enough to be able to build the kind of company that you want? And some people don't want to build a team, and that's okay. But you know, there was this phrase, and get ready, close your ears if you can't hear this one. I remember talking to my friend Elizabeth Gilbert years ago, and this was actually an idea that was popularized by Mark Manson. And it was the notion of you are going to eat a shit sandwich no matter what at some point in your business or life. So one of the beautiful things about having a team, right, is that you have more people around you. You usually you need to earn a lot more money to support that team, but you can do things like take vacations. You can do things like have the input of other talented people and have the support and the culture and all those beautiful things. And then other people are like, I don't want a team. I just want to be a freelancer, or I just want to be a solopreneur, which is fine, but you're going to have a different challenge, which is if you don't show up, you don't make money. There's no one who's got your back. You know, like, and obviously as someone who's taught people how to grow digital businesses, I understand that, but most things are not set it and forget it. You know, so there's always going to be pluses and minuses, no matter which way that you want to grow your business. So you have to be mature and understand what kind of shit sandwich do you want to eat. And it comes back to the financial decision. So if you're like, well, I only need to earn $100,000 a year because my expenses are only 40 grand and taxes and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, great. Well, what happens if your financial dreams get bigger, or you're never going to be able to hire help if you're only earning that much? Does that make sense? So you have to just put your big human pants on and have a really mature conversation with yourself about your goals, what that looks like, what that enables you to do, and what it doesn't enable you to do.
Wonderful. Let's do this. We have a few minutes left. Let's do rapid fire Q&A.
Yeah.
So ask your question quickly, answer quickly so we can get through them.
Yes.
Yes?
I'm going to
Can
try
we do
that.
that?
It's going to
Drigo,
be
we
hard
have 2
for
mics
me.
now or no?
Well, there's so many that are very quickly. I have some questions from the internet.
Let's
A
do
lot
it.
of people are asking questions about, I have a bunch of things I like doing, but I don't know where to get started to make my money. Like, what would be your advice to someone that's just looking to get started and they love doing a bunch of different niches?
Yeah, absolutely. So the
So constraint for you, 60 seconds or less. Go.
Yep. The easiest way to look at that is to map them all out on a piece of paper and to be really honest about which one has the highest potential for the kind of income that you want to earn. And does it require you to be in the top 1% of the world? Like if you want to make a full-time living as a writer, do you need to be the Stephen King of the world? Do you know what I mean? To get there. For me, I knew that there was a lot more financial capability in online courses, speaking, writing, and all that stuff, rather than making a gajillion dollars in fitness and inventing something like the Thigh Master. Didn't want to go down that route.
Great. Thank you. You got another question for us, Drigo? And why don't the rest of this room prepare? Somebody else you have a question? Okay, Gwen, grab the mic. You got it.
So just in the last, since AI, the course thing has gone off the rails. So I would like to know if you were advising someone like in the coaching space now.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give them?
So I think in today's current marketplace, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but I think consumers are really looking for specific problems and solutions in very tiny chunks. I call them snackables. So people are looking for how to get a specific, clear result. So I would take things out of big courses and I would chunk them down and make them more what I call snackables, and make a whole ecosystem of different problems and solutions that all kind of wrap around one central idea and allow people to take this snackable and then give them the opportunity to upsell to another snackable. And you might do a bundle where they can do it all, but most people want a very small entry point that is lower priced, that's faster to consume, and that gets from clear problem to specific solution like that.
Also referred to as a micro product, which we talked about last time.
Snackables, because I love food.
Yes, that's a branded version. Drigo.
Marie, what's one thing that's really working for you guys right now within your business when it comes to marketing?
I would say it's a double of that answer of breaking something down and also adding on, can you use AI to make it into a tool? to give people some kind of tool, anything that you can do to make people's lives easier, to get them to the result faster. And one thing, this is actually, I want to quote my friend Barry on this. She was talking about how most coaching is actually going to come after you help them solve their problem. Initially, we were helping people on the front end, coach them to get the result. Now it's help them get a result and then help them answer the questions after that, where they really need a lot more guidance and support.
Ed has a question. Can you hand the mic back, Gwen? Ed's right behind you.
You said some really great stuff about AI. My question is, how do you use it without turning off your brain and becoming one of those people? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that that's a really interesting dance that we don't have all the best answers for right now. I'll tell you how I personally use it. So I write a lot. I write almost daily. And so I'm doing all of my first drafts. And whenever I find myself feeling like, are there 4 other ways that I could say this? Or running it through. I'm also one of the world's worst spellers. Okay, I'm a terrible speller. So I find the ways that it can help me do the things that I'm not great at, that don't require me to downgrade the functionality of my creativity or my writing ability, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, that's how I'm using it right now.
You are a classic ADHD person, you know that?
I am.
Multi-passionate, need to collaborate, horrible speller.
Yes. Terrible.
There's probably a couple of things I'm not remembering, but
Oh
that's
my
what
God.
you've admitted
Yes.
to so far.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, anybody else? Any other questions? You've been here, we're about, okay, go ahead. Hand her the mic. Ed, do you have it? Go ahead. Okay, there you go.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay.
Stand up, please.
Stand up.
Please stand up.
Hi, I'm Bonina. I'm pivoting to editing, video, content creation type of field. My background's been in marketing and PR for like over 25 years. And I feel like...
Thank you.
Yeah,
Question,
yeah,
member?
Okay, I wanted to know, are there hacks to getting over like imposter syndrome and confidence? I feel like when I was younger, I had a little bit more chutzpah
Yeah.
to just dive in and do things. And now I'm kind of like, as the older I get, I'm a little bit more fearful. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I call it the spotlight method. You're either going to have your spotlight, like everyone think about the fact that you have miner's light on your head, right? You're always walking around with a miner's light on your head. And at any given time, you're shining it out on your audience, or it's going like, what do people think of me? Oh my God, I'm so afraid. Am I going to do this right? Are they going to like me? What am I charging? All that.
That's the thumbnail.
Right? So if you can keep your miner's light out on just getting your clients results, just like you did in PR and marketing, and that's all you got to do. Just keep it that simple. Is my miner's light in? And then you're navel gazing and like, I'm so afraid. I've got imposter syndrome, which, who cares? Do the work.
okay, thank you.
You got it.
I think there was a quote, I'm not sure if I'm attributing to the right person, but I'm going to say it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, who said the human mind once expands, it never shrinks back to its original size. So, you know, I was introduced by a lot of people at one period in time as a marketing guru, which I'm not. I am not. But you know what I did? I read 6 books on marketing. So you backfill the gap.
Yeah.
So the gap is between where I am and where people see me or how I see myself, and it just takes work and discipline. I don't know why it's so hard for so many people. If you want to do something, say, I'm going to do that. So you cast the buoy out to the water and you swim towards it. And the swimming is do the mother freaking work. Just do the work. And whenever I ask somebody, what have you done? What have you sacrificed to achieve the goal that you've said? It goes super silent. And that's the problem. So we live in this constant state of oscillating between who we are and who we pretend to be. The only way I know how to get there is take that first step on the stairwell. Just do the freaking work.
Stephen Pressfield has a great quote about that. I think he had a whole book in it. It's like, put your ass where your heart wants to be and do that daily. It's one of the best quotes ever.
Okay, we're going to go to Milka. Milka, who's got the mic?
Yes, this is quick. At the very beginning, you talked about 1999 where you decided to pursue the career of being a life coach. And then you said that, and I started my business. I'm just curious to learn your story. What happened then? Because you were 23, you were young.
Oh gosh, I coached everyone and their sister and their cats and their dogs for free. I would go to Toastmasters, and that's where I would get clients. People would come into the bar and say, are you an actor? I was like, no, I'm a life coach. And I'd sign them up for my list and then I'd get them as a client. And again, most of the work was done for free in the beginning because I needed to build skills, build confidence, understand that I could actually help people create results. That was the only way I was going to get there because I was terribly insecure and I was afraid about my age. That's how it all started.
Beautiful, thank you.
You know, I asked the question to the audience earlier, are you doing your life's work? And I said, presume she, of course, is doing her life's work. But I don't know if you're doing your life's work.
Well, I think it's expanding and changing.
You know what I think you should be doing?
No, I can't wait to hear.
I think you should have been a theater kid.
Really?
Yeah, because you like to sing, you like to dance, you're super expressive, you do different voices. And I watch Marie TV, and you're like, you're a character.
Oh my God, the wigs
Is
and
that
the dancing.
Yeah, you did skits and little, like you
Yes.
had little Penny talking to you, and you do ASMR.
That's
a
all
lot
my weird
more
stuff.
in here.
There is.
You should have been a theater kid, no?
Not should have. It's like there's a lot of runway ahead of me, and I feel like new things are coming up, and I don't know what they are yet, but they always take their own time.
Yeah, like on a
Yeah.
TV show.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Oh, from your lips to God's ears.
We're here in Hollywood. Why not? Okay, Tyler.
Hey Marie, my name is Tyler Chow. So I'm on next with Chris. I'm a big fan of yours. I want to hear more about your B school because I represent some of the biggest YouTubers in the world. But what they don't have is they don't have this knowledge that they're actually a business.
Yes.
Like they think their YouTube channel is their business. It's not. It's the marketing.
Tyler, stand still, please. You're making my camera person crazy. Yeah. We got you.
So they don't realize that they don't have a product. They don't have
Correct.
a business.
Correct.
So
they don't have a
I
back
would love
end.
to send some of my clients to you.
Well,
Can
let's
you
talk,
tell me
honey,
more
because we should,
about
yes.
business school?
I mean, so we've helped over 80,000 people start and grow businesses. That was my whole thing because I met so many talented people who were highly creative, but the business part, they're like, no, I'm not a salesman, I'm a marketer, and I don't know how to make money and all that stuff. I'm like, I can help you. Chris and I, when you were saying before, like, we can help you with this part. So B School really helps people understand who their ideal client or customer is, helps them come up with ideas for products or services that are really going to meet the need of the market, but also align with their gifts and their passions and who they want to be in the world. Create irresistible offers that make people like want to pull out your credit card or your little tap thing and go, oh my God, are you in my mind? I need that. Teach people how to market in a way that's super creative, that's super integrous, that is really aligned with your values. Have a marketing smart tech stack. Basically the whole thing soup to nuts, but it's really about how to market and sell with integrity. And anything that you can Google, we try and leave out because I don't want to do that. But I love teaching people the timeless principles and behaviors that you need to thrive in any economy. So no matter how the platforms change, how the algorithm change, one thing that hasn't changed in human history is our psychology, is understanding how to be empathetic, because I think empathy is one of the strongest business skills you can ever have, and most people don't know how to leverage it, now not manipulate, but leverage it in a way to take the goodness of who they are and pour it into a business that's highly profitable and highly impactful. That's what we do. We take non-business people and we make them business rock stars.
Okay. Wait, Tyler, you want to say something?
I love that, but if I could push back a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, do it.
This is what
Go
happens
for
to
it,
me, right?
please.
Give them the strategy, but they're missing this operational layer. Like, okay, how do I actually go execute it? So do you actually help them like?
Well, that
hire
depends.
or-
So we've had people from over 641 different industries. We have people that are product-based, they're selling like fashion or farming or different things. We have people that are coaches and consultants. We have authors. We have people that are app developers. So I can probably talk to you offline. We try and be very, very transparent about what we do help you with and what we don't. So I'd have to get more granular with you, but we're not teaching you legal, we're not teaching you accounting, we're not teaching you manufacturing, right? So we have a very clear, here's what you get and here's what you don't get, so that we can only serve our right fit clients. Does that make sense? We don't
No,
get,
I
we,
love that. We'll talk
yeah,
after.
absolutely,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. We're going to wrap up.
Okay,
But what I want to do is, in the wrap up, I want to ask whoever has the mic, Tyler, just stay right there. You have the mic. Tyler, you're kind of new to the conversation. What's the one thing you love about yourself? The thing that you love the most about yourself?
My willingness to serve. You know, I left a 20-year career in Hollywood to come protect creators, and I am living my dream life. And by the way, I was listening to you guys live, so I
Oh, you know the whole thing. Okay.
I heard about her sitting
Dang,
outside the church.
you're committed.
I
I love
wanted
it.
to hear it. I'm living my dream life right now.
Perfect.
Because every day I wake up, I'm like, this is what I get to do. I get to
Beautiful.
help creators and protect them.
Yes. Wonderful. Marie,
yes.
what's the thing you love the most about yourself?
Oh my gosh, I honestly love my sense of humor and joy. I love that, like, even when the world is crazy or my world feels like it's falling apart, that I somehow get these weird ideas that make me laugh, or that I'm crying, then I start laughing about how ridiculous it is. And there seems to be this unquenchable little seed of joy and humor inside me that no matter what happens, it won't die. And I love that.
Okay, let's do this in reverse order here. Everybody who actually touched the mic today, I'd like to pass the mic to the next person, and then you pass it to the next person. Whoever's touched the mic today, tell me one thing that you love about yourself, or the thing that you love the most about yourself, preferably. Milka, you're first. Milka, please stand up. Please stand up, stand up, okay?
Yeah, what do I love about myself?
The most. What's the thing that you love the most about yourself?
I love setting others up for success.
Perfect. Love that. Hand the microphone to the person right in front of you. Go ahead. Yeah. Right there. Yeah. You. Please stand up. Please. Stand up. It's a hot mic.
Hi. Okay. What I love about myself?
The most.
The
What do you
most.
love the most about yourself?
Right now.
Yes.
Right now, I'm just curious and I always love to learn. And
Okay.
I love to go on adventures. I guess.
Wonderful. That you're a very curious person. And then let's pass it to Gwen. Or to Ed, you have the mic. Go ahead.
I feel like I've really learned to be comfortable with myself and have a lot of fun with whatever I end up doing, roll with things.
Perfect. Let's hand it to Gwen.
You want me to stand up?
And you're okay, because you're in front.
What I really love about myself is my ability to put people at ease and really make them feel seen.
Beautiful. Let's hand it over to her. Yeah.
Wow. I love about myself that I know there's a way to make it happen. I just see it, I'm, not to make it too long, but I moved to the United States, was $800, didn't speak English, didn't know anybody. And at 19 years old, and I was like, I will make it no matter what. I will do whatever it takes, and it's going to be good. It's going to be all right. I'll be fine. So
Wonderful.
That's what I love.
Everything is figureoutable.
Exactly.
That's right, baby. That's
She's going to work
right.
that in there. Boom. I love that. Okay. Anybody else had the mic? Did you have the mic? No. You can have the mic now. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go
tell us,
ahead.
celebrate yourself.
You go ahead.
Sure, I'll just say it again. I believe curiosity, that's keep feeling this feeling of being alive is short, and also the value being authentic and being always open to people that's not only just experience myself but also through the eyes of others. I think that's something I love.
Okay. You don't have to hand it to him, we're good.
Amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what I love about myself.
Yes. Besides everything. Besides the whole thing.
I love that. I love myself.
Yay!
That's it.
I
That's
love
all
that.
it is.
I love it.
I had to end it there.
Yes.
Yes. And go ahead. #narcissist. You can write it. It's fine. I totally accept it. Bring it, baby. Bring it. Marie, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
I feel like this is like an extended version with more people of our airport conversation. It was fun. I didn't know where the time went.
Yes.
And I just appreciate you as a human being and the energy that you bring and the wisdom too.
Thank you so much. I was so looking forward to this. Thanks to everyone online and everyone here. You guys are beautiful. And I can't wait to do it again sometime.
I listened to one of your Q&A Tuesdays,
Yeah.
and somebody asked this question, and I just want to tip my hat to you and give you your roses or your flowers in that you have a kindness to you that I don't have. But I love that about you, and I love that I'm not that kind,
Yes.
and that's totally okay.
Yes.
And you set people up for success, and you pour into them. It feels natural. It doesn't feel like it's an affect that you're doing. You're not like applying the sandwich technique, which is what I would be doing. You know what I mean? You support them. There was a kindness and some criticism and then some kindness at the end there. And I just thought it was really beautiful. No wonder you're super successful and you've been doing this for so long. So she's an OG and a pioneer and an innovator. She's talked to so many people you wish you were just in the room with. Oprah, everybody, basically. Everybody. Tony Robbins, just go down the list. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause, everybody. Okay. Now for end of show.
Oh.
We want you to look down the barrel of that lens right
Yes.
there, and you're going to say your full name, like I am or my name is, and then you say you are listening to the future for the pod.
You're listening to Future.
You're listening to the future.
You're listening to the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.